You wrote, Jackie, in your piece in regard to how his reputation will be as a result of whatever may happen
His
here.
legacy.
And we talked about it a couple of days ago here that I don't think there will be any more tarnish than on a Boy Scout's belt buckle. And it won't even be that much. I think he is so beyond being tarnished, even if he does have to serve the 4-game suspension. Do you agree?
I do agree. I could 100% Woody, and I think, when you look back on his history, and in that column, I used the example of Brett Favre, who of course is going to be up for Hall of Fame induction in 2016. And just before I wrote the column, I just said to people, Brett Favre, what do you think of him? It was funny. A lot of them were like, too many interceptions, and I'm like, okay, that kind of stuck with him. But I mean, for the most part, we think of him as a first ballot Hall of Famer, a gritty quarterback. Very few people, if any, that I asked remembered the whole scandal where he was, sending lewd text messages to a former New York Jet sideline employee. And again, what Tom Brady is being accused of, whether you believe him or not, is having, quote, general knowledge of the possible deflation of footballs. The general knowledge. But they're not even suggesting that he deflated the football himself. So how does that detract from being one of the greatest quarterbacks of this generation, if not the greatest quarterback of this generation? I just think when it's time for him to go in 8 years from now or whenever it is, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer no matter what happens in this case.
Hey, Jackie, it's Benjamin Hochman here. I want to ask you about the perception of a sports fan. I mean, I look at it like this. Fans hate the steroid baseball players because they could literally see a difference in the performance. McGuire hits 40-some-odd home runs, uses the steroids, now he's beating Roger Maris. But when in a situation like this, it's not a physical thing that's occurring on the field that we can say, Tom and his guys did that, and that's why that touchdown was scored. Do you think that's maybe what the difference in the perception of the fans?
Well, I will say this about fans. There's, Tom Brady has become a very, very polarizing figure, and I think the New England Patriots in general tend to be very polarizing, and there's a lot of people that hate the Patriots. And by the way, with some good reason, their reputation for being arrogant is warranted in very many cases, and Deflategate is, of course, the best example of that. And so Tom Brady gets lumped in with Belichick and the Kraft family and the rest of them. And so there are some fans that no matter what happens, if it gets reduced to zero, even if Roger Goodell came out and said, we made a mistake, Tom Brady has done nothing wrong, there's a population of fans that are going to say, oh, there's Goodell, Hochman, back in bed with Kraft. No matter what Brady does, in their mind, he's always going to be a cheat and a fraud. And then you have this whole other segment of the population, mostly New Englanders, that no matter what happens, if Goodell gets in and says, Tom Brady admitted everything, they're going to say, oh, no, not our Tom. And they're never going to believe any of it. And that's just the way it is. And again, whatever happens in this ruling, none of those people are going to change their mind.